Okay, guys, could we call it a wrap there? And what we're going to do now is we're going to assemble at each of the stations and go through a short presentation of the learnings from that session. So can we start over here at team number 1, please?
So we went in terms of obviously travel insurance as our actual game, in a finite game. As you can see, our cards are all displayed down here. So rather than actually talk this through down here, I'll walk you through on the actual board. So in terms of motivation, we picked up meaning and competition. Meaning came out of ease of mind, and competition was around speed and the quickest steps. So it was a bit of actually how fewer steps can you actually take to get your travel insurance, or how quickly can you do it? Can you do it quicker than the person before you? In terms of, I've forgotten what the next colours is now. Victory conditions, thank you very much. So we picked up territory control and victory points, both of which kind of merged a bit together in there. So there was about actually how far do you travel compared to your friends. So someone might travel around the world, where someone might only stay in the UK. And also then that linked into victory points. So the further you travelled, the more mileage you did, the more points you'd get back. We then threw another one in there because we just liked doing that. In terms of actually, we could also introduce what did you do when you were there. So there's extreme sports or like snowboarding or skydiving. So actually you might get some additional victory points for something like that as well. Moving into the next section, we ended up with operant conditioning, where we started to look into risk indicators. So again, in terms of whether there might be floods or there might be diseases, so actually then started to introduce, could we have negative points here as opposed to positive? We also then played the card of, actually, we probably ought to be a bit fictitious in our world here, rather than saying, actually, France is an unsafe place to go to right now. We actually ought to make it more in terms of not necessarily knowing what each of the country names were. Variable challenge came up as well. So I can't actually remember where we went to on variable challenge. I think we talked about potentially setting people targets in terms of actually you need to get somewhere in so many few steps, etc., whether you've actually done it from a time perspective. Rewards, where we could actually give physical rewards to people. So everyone likes an upgrade, a free bottle of bubbly or up into first class, for example. So you get all those kinds of complimentary items as well. Time boxing came in. That's quite simple and straightforward because it played all the way through. And then we also had collecting. So we talked about relics as you travel. So you can either take actually the physical relic if you're in real world, or in this space of game, you could do a little selfie of yourself in terms of by the Golden Gate Bridge, I think we came up with. And then moving into what does that mean from a social status or a communal collaboration. Social status really worked well. So obviously your victory points, how high are you on the leaderboard as an example. Communal collaborations, where we actually then struggled a little bit because all of this is about the individual as opposed to necessarily how do I work as a group and how do I get the better deal as a group. So we did talk about things about maybe part of your rewards would actually, you could bring somebody else along, but you've actually not worked together to make it. And then the alternative we said is actually you can make a game in terms of where 5 people start out at the same time and try to achieve a common goal. But that's kind of where we got to. Anything I missed, guys? So
Vanessa, in terms of the current travel insurance user experience, what would be the one thing you think that could have an impact, one mechanic, game mechanic you would add to that? What would be your favourite? What sticks out there? In terms of this, mine would be around the whole, actually, how far could you travel, and also probably, I talked about add-ons in terms of like your extreme sports, so all of your winter baggage, that kind of thing, because actually a lot of people don't understand it, don't know what they can get or can't get, and therefore how do you ensure that you're covered for the right things that you need to be covered for? Am I right in thinking most travel insurance right now doesn't give you, it's not about how far you travel, it's just a time, isn't it? It's like you're covered for a year or something. Yeah, you can do a certain amount of days or for a year, and it depends then on distance as well, so you can do worldwide or you can do European. There's certain countries which obviously get covered in there as well, but it's not very often in terms of how far do you travel. You can have one-off, like a one-off travel insurance for. So you're suggesting almost air miles? Is that what you're suggesting? Yeah, this one, it came into an air miles. Travel insurance miles, almost? Yeah. Okay. Yep. Brilliant. Vanessa, thank you very much. You've earned your cards. I get cards. You've earned your cards. Thank you. Brilliant, thank you. Should we move over to team 2, please? Who's gonna present here for us? Eva, okay, here we go.
Okay, I'll try. Help me if I forgot about something, because it's quite complex, I think. So Our idea was to create a platform which will drive loyalty amongst the customers, and of course drive the loyalty not only with insurance companies, but potentially with also partners of the insurance companies. So we started to kind of think what would be the victory conditions, and we came up with the territory control. So the game would have a map of the world, and whenever you travel somewhere, you get a territory covered with a badge. Now, to make it more fun and also to get more info out of it, we would also use some challenges and quests for the people. So quests would be, for example, if you're in China, you need to visit the Grand Wall, you need to do something else. If you complete all those challenges, then you get the quest, then you get a badge and additional score points. And of course, those scores, those badges would be also kind of shared with your peers to show them how far you've been, where you traveled, what you did there. And that would also encourage people to, for example, share photos or share their experience within their given country. Again, to make it even more engaging, we decided to use also challenges. Challenges would be questions asked by the people on the platform. So say they want to travel to Thailand and they actually want to know, what's the best massage place in a given city, the best bar, the best drinks, best tattoos, whatever. They post a question to people who actually have been to a given country, and they're able to respond to that question. When they respond to the question, they also get badges, they get some points. So they get up the leaderboard, and of course they can also share that with, again, social media. The badges and the points could be then redeemed and exchanged for some rewards, which could be a discount on insurance, that could be a free upgrade on a plane, an upgrade of the room, free massage, whatever the partners within the scheme would offer. We also kind of were thinking that the more information the people on the platform share, the more personalized insurance offer you could propose to them. Because if you know what are the activities that one would take on during the holiday, you could actually maybe reduce some coverage, maybe offer some cheaper risk coverage for a given person within the platform if you know what they're actually about to do on their holidays. Any questions?
I think that's really, really interesting. What this is a platform maybe an insurer would provide for a group of people who know each other to play a game around their travel, basically.
So I would say that would be something that the insurer provides to everyone, not necessarily the clients. We're discussing that, whether that would be limited to the insurance company clients or not. The idea is to engage the people. So we think that it would be better to leave it open and allow the people to exchange their kind of position around the scoreboards with their peers, which would not necessarily be the insurance company customers. But then again, because you can redeem the points into insurance discount, that would drive you back to the insurance company that is offering the platform.
James, where are you? What did you think of that? What do you think of that?
Yeah, it's really good. Very nice use of the cards. I see there's a lot of territory controls appeared twice now. So that's quite interesting the way you've used it differently compared to Team 1. Really like that.
Okay, Eva, thank you very much. Thank you. You've earned your cards.
And I don't get the card.
Brilliant. Shall we? Who's going to? So Richard, tell us. Please tell us.
Yeah, I did the colouring in, so I get to present. So, hi, my name's Richard, and fundamentally, as a consumer, insurance is really boring. So we decided to not play a game around getting people to win something to do with insurance, because ultimately insurance, if you think about it, maybe travel insurance would range between 50 to maybe £150. So if you're spending, if as a user you're investing a lot of time into maybe getting 50p off here and there, it's kind of slightly pointless. So we came up with this idea of, not hugely dissimilar to you guys over here on board number 2, and it was essentially a game of kind of Yelp, but with a game of Risk. So we thought that it would be good for people to want to dominate different areas of the globe, so slightly Foursquare-esque, as well as the game of Risk. And the way that we thought the motivators would work would be by, obviously, people having ownership of different areas of the globe. So, say, for instance, a lot of us here live in London, and we won't necessarily do lots of travelling, but we can definitely own areas that we live in. So what we wanted to do was to get people to create content, very much like with Yelp, to create content and reviews about areas that you live in and that you know of. So that's the ownership of the area motivator. And we thought it would be quite entertaining for you as an individual user of this game to maybe craft different stories for other people to come and interact with. So just as much as you can post content and, let's say, post YouTube videos of what your local area is like, other people can obviously comment on what they think of your posting. And we thought that as a user, you could set different criteria for the kind of encounters that you want, or the kind of stories that you're creating. For example, this was an idea that Zara came up with. It was only a matter of time before it turned to how can we make this into a dating type site? And it was a brilliant idea. So as a story that you could create as a consumer is, well, I know all these really cool and romantic areas around where I live, and I'm going to set up a number of different romantic scenarios and environments that other people could like, and I could share that with other people, and then I could get social points by other people coming and using that story and engaging with those local areas that I know of really well because I live here. So we created, obviously, a globe because it's kind of travel insurance, and so as a user, you could have your own profile and draw from your social graph and all of the different postings that you've put, and to create your story around you as a user. And that was the motivator, and that's the social points that you get, and the travel gems. The travel gems that you can get are, so obviously let's say you're based in London, but you've been given points because you've created this story that other people have bought into and they like it, and you get points from these people that allow you to. It's kind of like air miles, so you get travel gems or travel points for creating these stories. The whole point of what we were trying to create is not really to drive customers as the overarching focus. So the thought was really to create a big circle of consumers. Create a big circle of users, and then within that, just have a smaller subsection of people who are customers. So again, similar to you guys over here, the idea was to create a platform that people used, and then of that, the platform is delivered by an insurance company, and a few people would obviously become customers. So what else?
I was just going to say the only other piece, I think, it was the victory condition, very similar to the other guys. It was the territory control. So the whole motivation is that you basically alleviate your status and basically go from having no presence in the world, having no visibility with other people, to actually building a reputation and constantly leveling up using your points and gem as you level up as well. So that was the rules and the mechanics, which is going to tie the whole thing together. Yeah. And ultimately, there'll be some discounts at some point.
Okay, Richard, that's
thanks.
really interesting. Does anyone have any comments on that?
Any questions?
It's interesting, James. It's territory, isn't it?
I know. The cards come up 3 times.
The cards. Okay, Richard, thank you very much. That's brilliant. You've earned your card. Thank you.
Thanks for the cards.
Okay, what we'll do now is we're going to photograph these boards, and then we'll get started on the next scenario. Same thing again, but let's look at life insurance. 3, 2,